One of the guys that get a lot of credit is Steve Blackman from Muscular Development. I mean, those guys have done an extraordinary job for years and years and years to promote health, to promote fitness, to promote strength, to promote bodybuilding, powerlifting, weightlifting, and all of those kind of things. So the contributions they made is gigantic, and I hail them for that.
Hey everybody, 8 days out from the Arnold Classic 2018 here at the Mecca Golds Venice. This is Danny Hester with MD. Gonna do a little shoulder workout. Let's do it. So last year's Olympia, I traveled quite a bit compared to the year before when I won. So I'm pretty sure that hurt me, as far as competition, just not really doing what I'm supposed to do. And I think just the overall desire wasn't there as much. For this Classic Arnold 2018, since it is the first one, I would love to nail that. And, that way I would have the first Olympia Classic and the first Arnold Classic Physique ever. So definitely I am very excited about this one. It's going to be great competition, and I look forward to it. I think I'm bringing much fuller package this time, getting a little more rest, less travel, a little more dedication, and my mindset is, much stronger and more competitive this time. So I really look forward to, bringing a better package as far as hamstrings, outer sweep. I had some knee problems that I had to really work around, and had to stay real consistent with it, and made sure I got that sweep, that nice fullness. Did a lot more reps, just different angles and stuff. And, where there's a will, there's a way. So it's just about really focusing on your weaknesses, I believe, is where you're just going to be that much stronger, especially in the classic division, And so I feel tightening up the abs more, just everything overall. So, and I look forward to posing. The posing routine is something that is a big part of why I do this sport. So I look forward to having a nice presentation, and, that's what it's about. This last Olympia, I was very disappointed. Took 5th place compared to, winning it the year before. Definitely everyone's improved, just in all aspects. A lot of new young talent coming up. But I would have to say that it just made me, that much hungrier and more motivated. I never get upset with the placing. I know exactly where I stand and what I need to do, and it doesn't really determine my worth in the sport, because I do it because I love it. You win some, you lose some, and it's about just the overall improving yourself. So given that, definitely making improvements on what I'm bringing this year to the Arnold Classic, and hopefully I'm going to get that first one. Of course, I wanted the Classic division at the Arnold Classic 2016 when I won the Olympia, the first one in the Classic division. They didn't have it that year. This year, they have it, so I'm definitely in. I can't wait. I just wish more of the competitors that did the Olympia would be doing this. I just feel like it's such an honor to be able to do the Arnold. It's my first one. I've never done the Arnold Classic before, so I really want to represent, the division as best as possible. And I feel, I got 1 week left at this point, and I really feel that I'm going to bring the best package I've ever brought. So, win or lose, I'm going to do well. I think I'm going to do well. I'm real confident and real excited to show everybody that I'm still making improvements. The aspects of my physique that I've improved on, I would have to say, the arms, the guns. I feel that I've really brought them up, and I just think they're just such a nice pop to the rest of your physique. If everything all else is balanced, I think you can have a little bit bigger arms, especially in bodybuilding. They equate arms to bodybuilding, really. How big are your arms? Make a muscle. So I think I've improved that and tightened up my abs some. I never really used to do abs, and I stayed really conscious about keeping keeping that nice and tight and hitting them very consistently. Hamstrings, outer sweep. My back's always been my strong point, so I always, try to just be safe and keep injury free and just really work that detail. And my shoulders, so pretty much everything. Yeah, I've made some changes in my training. Like I said, I'm doing abs more consistent, really getting that burn, trying to really focus on keeping that waist trim and having more control in my breathing and abdominal area. And I think really focusing on my hamstrings and sweep. My nutrition, definitely, getting with a really good meal prep company, and just makes the biggest difference in the world. I mean, it's night and day compared to the company I was using before. And you have to have what you need. You can't just eat whatever. That's the thing that people don't realize. You have to find what works best for you. And before I was kind of just settling, but now I know exactly what I need to do, and I'm real strict about it, and it's really paying off. For me, competing twice a year is no problem. If anything, I would love to compete a little bit more. I just think it improves you, and I'm not a big fan of the bulking up thing, especially when we have, weight divisions in this classic category. So for me, it's about pushing to that next level, when you're getting ready for a show, and it just keeps me on task. I don't let too much time slip away. I think doing the Arnold after the Olympia is probably the best thing for me. It's going to help me improve, especially for the year coming up at the Olympia. And I think it really gave me a lot of insight and what I need to improve on from the last Olympia, for this Arnold Classic. So for me, it's a benefit. I have to compete. It really just improves everything. It keeps me at task and focused. Well, possibly because it's a new division. It is a very popular division. I just feel that I welcome it, the more the merrier. And they're going to weed out real quick, who really is up to par. And I just feel that it's a great experience and a great honor to be up there on stage. It'll motivate the guys that need to do more work, to be competitive. But I feel that everyone should have, that opportunity to be able to do that. My chances I think are very good. I've already proven once that I was able to, be number one. And I think I'm very confident this time. There's a lot of things that go on in life when you're getting ready for a show. And I feel very comfortable this time. I didn't really have to make a lot of compromises. I was traveling a lot less and had a lot of support. And, I'm still making gains. That's the beauty of it. Injuries and everything I'm keeping at bay. And I'm real excited. I'm going to bring a really, really strong physique to this next Arnold Classic. I feel that, classic division, there's really quite a spectrum of different type of physiques, for the classic division based on your body type, your nationality, just the way your body flows. So there's not really one type. I mean, if you compare like a Frank Zane, that's the epitome of classic supposedly, to someone like a Sean Ray or a Lee Labrada, they're totally different body types, but to me, they're still classic. So, as far as having the first ever classic Mr. Olympia title, and then, my good friend Breon winning it, just this recent one, we're all classic, and I feel that to make the weight and to have the balance and everything, I think the judges, are pretty much doing the right thing. There's only so much you can do, to be out of the classic category if you have to make the weight for the height, So far, I think they're doing well. There's a lot of new talent coming up, and a lot of guys think, oh, if you can't do the vacuum, it's not classic. But there's so much more to that. It's about balance and aesthetics, and it still comes down to who's, the best conditioned athlete at the time and the fullest. It's like in this sport, it's you could be necessarily, debatable as far as the most classic lines, but it doesn't matter if you're not in condition and you're not on point. That day, that hour, that minute you're on stage in front of the judges and compared to the other athletes, and that's where it counts. Yeah, so, there's guys that come up and fall back down and come up. So that's the thing, is it's a never-ending process of trying to improve yourself and how you peak that day, that minute, like I was saying before. A lot of great athletes with a lot of potential. Number 2 necessarily doesn't mean they're going to be number 1 because they got number 2 the year before. Obviously, that was the case, this year. And I think the top 5 guys are always usually in the mix. Sometimes even 6 or 7, to be honest with you. And it's really any given day, if you're on and you're focused, I could tell, some of these guys that aren't real focused and they go in there and they don't do as well, but it doesn't mean it has anything to do with their potential or what they're going to bring the next time. So you never count anyone out. That's what I've always said, and that's the beauty and excitement of competing. Yeah, I don't really think the Classic is going to have any influence over, the open division or the 212. I think, to try to get as much size as possible and be the best conditioned and the fullest and the driest and everything else that goes into standing on stage at that moment in front of the other competitors. You're just going to have to bring all of the above, at the best possible. So it's give and take. If your arms are super big and your quads, but your stomach might be a little bit bigger, it all has to balance out. It's a compromise, and that's what the judges are looking at. If you're just overpowering everywhere else, it's impressive and you're in condition, and the other guy might have a smaller waist. Just because you have a smaller waist doesn't make you a champion or should beat another guy, because there's so many aspects of what goes on, in a physique. I just think, for me, Classic is my body type. I like the way it flows. It looks more athletic, and that's just the background I come from. Just being an athlete and working with athletes, as far as functional athletes, not to say what bodybuilders aren't, but it's a different animal. And I just feel that aesthetics is aesthetics, and you go with what you're strong at. Some people just aren't really as aesthetic as others. If you find yourself just putting on the size and you're losing some aesthetics, you just have to, find out for yourself where the judges are going to make that compromise, and you have to do what's best for you. Well, at the amateur level, they were saying that about the men's physique. It was taking a lot of the athletes away from the bodybuilding. I noticed the numbers were all lower at the the amateur levels when they first introduced the men's physique. But it wasn't just as quite complete. There wasn't really posing. It was very limited on the posing, and you didn't really get to display the whole symmetry because of the shorts and everything. But, it's something where people can still compete until they're ready to, make the progress and kind of go to that next dimension, I guess you can say, with the posing and presentation and everything else too that bodybuilding has. So I think Classic Physique kind of gives you the balance of both of those, and I really think it's taken off because of that. And Classic and bodybuilding, I think you can do both, because I turned pro as a bodybuilder. They didn't have Classic, when I turned pro, and I might have did Classic if they had it and turned pro there. So to me, a Classic physique is a bodybuilding physique, and it's just about the weight, height ratio that you have to stay within. And being an amateur, that's already what you have to do anyways to a certain degree. So I think it's really doing well and getting the numbers in, because it's kind of doing what bodybuilding already was doing, and it gave the guys that really couldn't get quite as big or weren't maturing as fast, it gives them time to really, I guess, get comfortable and compete and still be competitive and enjoy the process while your body's making those gains. And they emphasize on the posing, which I really like to see. I love looking at Instagram and social media with these guys practicing and posing and stuff, at that level. I really never got to see that before, and it's really cool. So that's pretty much, kind of what I have to say about the whole classic division and bodybuilding and all that. So nothing that I've hadn't said before or hasn't been said before by other people. But it definitely is something to be talked about and, keep focus on. I hope you got something out of it, a little inspiration from the training, did some shoulders today, about 8 days out, notice the face, the Arnold Classic 2018. So, MD, thank you. Stay tuned.